But meanwhile, we're talking today about preschool. Here's a statistic. I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again because you think about this, and it really makes a lot of sense. More than 85% of all brain development happens in the first 5 years of life. You've heard that expression, we're like little sponges. It's true. And so the notion is we want to get a jump start on that learning and prepare young people for kindergarten and beyond. And it turns out there are opportunities for free or low-cost tuition for preschool right here in our midst. And we brought in some experts today to talk about that. Susan Clark is here, the Director of Early Childhood Education at the Calhoun County Intermediate School District. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, step right up there. Also here today, Michelle Williams, the CEO at Community Action. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Chandra Youngblood is here too, from the Battle Creek Public Schools, Director of Elementary Education. Hi there.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Thank you for being here today. Let me just start at the beginning. Good place, right? What is preschool? What is it supposed to be?
Preschool is an opportunity for young children to really grow and develop, learn some social skills and some educational skills that they can take to kindergarten.
All right. And it's not generally mandatory, is it, to have preschool? For example, if folks are thinking about school for a young child, they might be thinking kindergarten, and preschool is an option. Is that a fair way to put it, Susan?
Well, sure. I think it's important for folks to know that preschool, high quality preschool, and that's the important part.
Okay.
High quality preschool can really make a difference in a child's life. Research shows that a child who goes through preschool, it can save a school district $39,000 with that foundation that a child gets throughout their K-12 career. So, high quality preschool, specifically social skills, giving the kids that opportunity to interact with others. When they're at home, they can get very high quality education from mom and dad and grandma and neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
But that structured environment and the social interactions that are available in a preschool situation really are a benefit for children.
Interesting. Chandra, you must see the difference in this in early education in public schools. Some kids who've had preschool and some don't. Now you have a classroom with a mix. Is that a challenge?
It is a challenge, but we are noticing that we're having more kids go to preschool. This year, Battle Creek Public School has our kindergartners, 81% of them attended preschool, and we can see that difference. And so we are trying to get even more, closer to 100%, especially because we have these opportunities available in our community.
And we'll talk about that in just a minute because we presume that tuition for preschool is a barrier for some folks, and this is why you're here today, to talk about some opportunities to get over that barrier, and we'll get to that in just a minute on WBCK. 95.3 WBCK. We're talking about preschool and the importance of it with some educational experts, Calhoun County ISD, Battle Creek Public Schools, and Community Action, all involved in trying to get folks to get their kids into preschool, and there are some opportunities for free or low-cost preschool tuition benefits, and we're going to tell you what that's all about, and there is an application process, so we'll learn how to do that. Michelle Williams is with Community Action. I want to understand how preschool works for each of your entities and your purview on that. So at Community Action, what's that about? How does this work?
So Community Action has a federally funded program. We serve Early Head Start and a Head Start program, which means pregnant women through the time that kids go to kindergarten. We serve various sites throughout Calhoun County. So we have a Marshall, an Albion, and a couple sites in Battle Creek.
Okay.
We have a lot of openings currently for 3- and 4-year-olds in our Battle Creek Hale Center, which is right on Green Street. So anything that families can do to spread the word and get those slots filled would be great. Our program really is focused on 100% of poverty. That's how families qualify for our program.
Okay.
And we help with, we assign a family service advocate to families so that they can have help beyond just the preschool. So the family gets help in addition to the children gets opportunities for education.
Interesting. So, Chandra, how does Battle Creek Public Schools fit into this? You see these programs, and you're glad they're there, I'm sure. How does BCPS work this out?
Well, we have state-funded preschool for 4-year-olds.
Okay.
We have 7 full-day classrooms in the district. That's the Great Start Readiness preschool program. And our curriculum is high scope, and so it is very child-centered, teaching independence, and as Michelle said, both the academic and the social. And I know it's late in the year, but if your child is going to be 5 before September 1st, it's not too late. We have slots available at Dudley. There are also other GSRP slots throughout the community, at New Harvest, Learning Center, Lemon Tree at the Y, and then out county as well in Marshall and Albion too.
Okay. And we'll talk about how you apply for those coming up. So, Susan, where does Calhoun County ISD fit into all this?
Well, Calhoun County ISD really supports the Great Start Readiness program overall.
Okay.
We have a team of instructional coaches that work with all the GSRP classrooms throughout the county. And so really the goal is to ensure the highest quality for these kiddos in their classrooms. And so the coaches go in and work with the teachers on a weekly basis. We also handle the enrollment process for these programs, and we share that enrollment process with Head Start. So it's families have one place to go that they can enroll their child for any of these programs.
Oh, that's probably helpful when you're trying to sort out different locations and different programs. To have one fiduciary is probably an easy thing for everybody.
It is.
Okay. So as you pointed out, and Michelle alluded to, there's an income requirement. Folks can find out that information and a process, I presume, for that application, right?
Sure. The website is www.mychildneedspreschool.com. And on that site, there's information about the programs and also a place to click to go right to that online application. Now, Michelle mentioned that the income eligibility for Head Start is 100% of poverty. Well, Great Start Readiness Program, the eligibility is 250% of poverty.
Okay.
And so many families who didn't even think they would qualify actually do. So we encourage everyone to get in and make application, and then you'll be contacted if you qualify. The slots that we have available, we really need to fill within the next couple weeks. This is a state-funded program, and if we don't fill those slots, next year we might not get the same amount of state funding. So it's real important.
This is how state money works. Use it or lose it, as the expression goes. That's for a lot of things, but certainly true in this case, too. They're going to look at how you spent this money and presume that if those slots go unfilled, that there's not a need. Is that how the state works?
Sure. I think the funding for preschool over the last couple of years, has increased a lot for Great Start Readiness Program, which is great for our families. We know there are families out there. We want to encourage all of your listeners. They might not have a 4-year-old, but everybody, I think, knows a family that has young children. And so we really encourage folks to, ask neighbors, ask families that go to church with you, really try to spread that message to, get these slots filled in the next couple weeks.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment on WBCK. Few more minutes with our experts about preschool today, where there are a number of openings available for free or low-cost tuition for preschool, and you got to get to the application and do it quickly because those opportunities will close for this year in a couple of weeks, and we'll repeat the website where you find that coming up in just a minute. Michelle, what if there's a child who has special needs, or maybe English is not the first language? Do you deal with those kinds of situations in preschool?
Yes, we do. Across all of these programs, we have some specialists with different language capabilities. We also take children with disabilities, all different types of disabilities. We work closely with the ISD to provide additional services for those children. So we accept any diverse amount of children and their families.
Okay, so don't let that stop you. And maybe, Chandra, there's a child that's not quite preschool age yet, and there's a parent listening who's saying, oh, well, I've got time. You can do this now.
Absolutely. The application is always open,
Okay.
and there's other opportunities for play groups and field trips and various connections that start to ease kids. Sometimes parents aren't ready, but it can ease them into that structured school environment. And I think sometimes parents will see their kids blossom and say, maybe it is time for preschool. But we are taking applications for both this school year and the next school year.
Okay, so we'll give you that website in just a second. Do you encounter parents who are a little anxious about that separation? This would be, for a lot of them, the first time that they've been away from their child, or the child's been away from mom and dad. How do you deal with that?
We do have some slots that are not a full day slot.
Okay.
In Head Start, we serve 3.5 hours of care. And that gives them, if they're in the morning session, breakfast and snack, or in the afternoon, lunch and snack with that service. So it helps to ease the parents in. And as Chandra talked about, there's lots of play groups and other opportunities available. If they go to that application, we'll contact the family and let them know what services that might fit their needs the best.
Okay. And again, you've all spoken about the notion of socialization and getting used to interacting with other children. This is important once they get to kindergarten. Why? Let's be clear.
I think because we all know the state standards, the stakes have gone up.
Yeah.
And so that early intervention and preparation, because kindergarten doesn't look like it looked maybe when we went. That's what preschool is. It's play-based. It's words and songs and just a lot of interaction. And preschool, kindergarten is learning to read and write, and we're moving, and we know that the third grade law just went into effect for next school year. So trying to get every third grader on track reading at their level by third grade, we have to start as early as possible. So we like that preschool year to be that social year where everything is still play-based, because kindergarten jumps right in.
Kindergarten was that way, wasn't it? 40 years ago when I was there, it was more play-based, wasn't it? And that's changed a lot. Susan, how do we do this now? Let's make sure folks are clear. How do they get to that application, and what do they have to do to get through those steps?
Sure. First thing, the website is www.mychildneedspreschool.com. If you can click on the link to the application right there. We have staff in our office that every day take calls from families to support them in either filling out this application or answering questions about these programs. So our number is 269-660-1606.
Okay. And as you mentioned, the income requirement, as I saw there, there's a table that helps you sort out the income level based on the size of family, and you can easily figure out, presumably, where you fall in that. But you probably answer those questions regularly, too, about the income part.
Sure. I did want to mention that all families in our community are eligible to participate in our play groups.
Okay.
And we hold 14 different play groups around the community every week. Some of those play groups are music or large motor or science and math. And so folks can go to our Facebook page, and that's Early Childhood Connections on Facebook.
Okay.
And the calendar for all of those play groups, and those are parent-child play groups. So that kind of, again, eases families into the process of getting their child into a preschool program.
Okay.
And many of those programs happen in a preschool classroom, so it's a real nice transition for families.
All right. Let's say the website one more time, if you would.
So the website is www.mychildneedspreschool.com. And the Facebook page is Early Childhood Connections.
And as far as these applications are concerned, do you have a absolute deadline you're trying to meet here with those?
For Head Start, we take them anytime. We'll take them all the way into May. So if you haven't signed up for preschool, you still have the chance. And for our GSRP programs, we need some slots to be filled within the next couple of weeks.
All right. So look at that website and get the information. Call them 660-1606 for information on that. Susan, Chandra, Michelle, thanks to all of you for all your help today.
Thank you very much.